Let's fix the lighting for a bit. One moment. Okay, yeah, so I was saying regarding please excuse the grainy looking. I'm not sure how to fix that. I know when I do the videos at specific times of the day, it has a better look, and I know this camera is it has a better pixel on it, but it seems to be like this with the seemingly. So as I was saying, that with two individuals who desire to help, and an individual, let's say for example, they desire to help a special needs individual, and one person has the training on how to help an individual regarding special needs, regarding providing independence, and another person doesn't have the training and just desires to do things, taking away that independence, and then apply it to that type of thinking to these situations. Canadians have independence, but we are still connected to England. So regarding our independence that we have, we have the views of Canadians have been expressed, and we have told the government officials how we desire to be helped. The government officials are not listening, and they're saying, this is how you have to be helped, and this is how we're going to do it. And even when other Canadians that hold medical credentials are saying, please listen to the facts, you have the individual who desires to help who's not listening. And that's what you have. So continuing. So continuing regarding the revelations that are coming out regarding Donald Trump being spied on by the Clinton campaign before and during his presidency. I heard that's something worse than Watergate, because they were doing this during the presidency on a sitting president. That is major. So please listen to this audio from Victory News correspondent Mike Garofalo. One moment. Here's the audio.
The Durham investigation dropped a bombshell on Saturday about the Hillary Clinton campaign. In a court filing, the special counsel alleged the Clinton campaign paid a cyber tech company to hack servers in Donald Trump's residence and in the White House. Now, keep in mind, Joe Biden's national security advisor, Jake Sullivan, was Hillary Clinton's senior advisor. KT McFarland appeared on Fox News to address his involvement in the Russian collusion lie.
Got a big question about the role Jake Sullivan played. He is currently the national security advisor, the guy who's in charge of dealing with the Afghan withdrawal, with the negotiations with the Chinese, with the impending crisis with Ukraine. And yet he was the guy who was the main guy who spun and made up this fake news story and then pushed it to the press. Is he ever going to be held accountable?
Washington.
The next portion will play. 1 moment.
Washington Examiner chief correspondent Byron York also weighed in on Sullivan's involvement.
In this case, Jake Sullivan, who was then her top advisor, was trying to sell the idea. It was called the Alpha Bank scandal, with the Alpha Bank being a Russian bank, and they alleged that there were a lot of computer connections between Alpha Bank and the Trump organization. Wasn't true, didn't come to anything, but the idea, here's what the idea was. The idea was to sell it to the FBI, and then they could tell reporters that the FBI was investigating something.
The goal was to gather any...
The last part of this segment will play.
The goal was to gather any potentially damaging information about Donald Trump during the 2016 campaign and even when he was president. Ohio Congressman Jim Jordan fired back at Democrats on Fox News.
Well, President Trump was right. Remember back in 2017, well, when President Trump said they were spying on me and the press and all the Democrats said no, they weren't. And then in 2019, then Attorney General Bill Barr said spying took place at the FBI on President Trump's campaign, and everyone said no, no, no. Well, now we know for sure. Now we know 100%. John Durham's revelation, John Durham's filing here, yep, there was spying going on, and it was worse than we thought because they were spying on the sitting president of the United States, and it goes right to the Clinton campaign. So God bless John Durham and his investigation. It's taken a long time, but we're getting to now what we all suspected. The only thing we didn't understand was it was worse than we thought.
According to John Durham, his investigators have evidence about an unnamed cyber tech executive who is said to have exploited a relationship with the U.S. government to monitor internet activity at both Trump Tower and the White House. In a statement over the weekend, Mr. Trump said this about Durham's filing: "It provides indisputable evidence that the Clinton campaign operatives spied on his campaign and on his presidency."
And regarding the information, now, a specific number of Democrats desire investigation. One moment, I shall play that audio.
A significant number of Democrats polled said they want Clinton's role in Russiagate investigated. The Technometric Institute survey was done last month in New Jersey. The New York Post reports close to 3 out of 4 polled said they think it's important prosecutors investigate Clinton for her role in the Russiagate scandal. Now, that includes 2/3 of the Democrats polled who acknowledge paying attention to the Durham probe story. Since October, the number of Democrats who want to see Hillary Clinton investigated is up 20%. One can only imagine what those numbers would look like after the news from Durham investigation was released this weekend.
This will be one of the last, or maybe the last topic to cover. Looking at the developments regarding Ukraine and Russia, it is good to think about that both Putin and the president of Ukraine are not thinking regarding, or are not too much concerned regarding invasions. I read information regarding the president of Ukraine, like telling Joe Biden to calm down regarding heightening of things. But something to think about that I heard reported or mentioned on Victory News is that at the time when it was saying, when the information or the media was saying that Russia was, they're gathering on Ukraine's border, or putting the troops, what Russia was doing was putting troops on Russia's border. And in anything that we're hearing, we have to, as it's said to be objective, but it seems that it's only said to be objectives when the objective is supposed to be talking to point of one narrative or one standpoint. But it's good to be objective regarding things, to be able to hear you stand firm to what you believe, and hopefully I pray what you believe is the right point. But you stand firm to what you believe by the grace of God. And so regarding Russia and Ukraine, when you look at this situation, right now, Russia is a country that has belief system and views, and Ukraine has belief systems and views. And one of the things that Russia is saying is that they don't desire Ukraine to be brought into the United into NATO. And when I heard that, at first I was thinking, why? It's like, it sounds like bullying. It sounds like that's not right. But then when you think of it like this, that where Russia is and Russia's position, how would we feel or how would we take it? Canada being the way that having the views that Canada has, and having the allies that Canada has. If a country, let's say Alaska, then became in connection with China and Russia, and then in that connection allowed the forces of the connection, or of a force that's forces of China and Russia, or forces that are opposing Canada and the alliance between Canada, United States, and the other nations that are connected. If then Alaska then permitted these nations to then have access to Alaska right there on our border, would we be desiring that specific that specific allegiance then to allow that to happen, or would we be fighting against that? And then if they said they're going to go ahead and do it, then what would be Canada's position, and what would be the United States position regarding military? So when you hear what I'm about to say, or what I'm about to play, think about that. One moment. For the last topic, what I'm about to play is President Vladimir Putin speaking and saying that if NATO continues regarding enacting Defense Number 5 regarding bringing Ukraine into NATO, then Russia will use military force and will use nuclear military force. So please pay attention and read the words that Putin is saying at the bottom of the video, because he mentions using nuclear weapons. That's a serious statement. And if you haven't seen this, I heard this has been banned on news platforms in the West. Pay attention, please, to what Putin is saying.
Я хочу еще раз все-таки подчеркнуть это. Я говорил, но мне очень бы хотелось, чтобы вы меня услышали все-таки в конце концов. И донесли это до своих читателей, зрителей и пользователей в интернете. Но вы понимаете или нет, что если Украина будет в НАТО и военным путем будет возвращать себе Крым, европейские страны автоматически будут втянуты в военный конфликт с Россией. Конечно, потенциал объединенной организации НАТО и России несопоставим. Мы понимаем. Но мы даже и понимаем, что Россия одна из ведущих ядерных держав. По некоторым компонентам, по современности даже многих опережает. Победителей не будет. И вы окажетесь втянутыми в этот конфликт помимо своей воли. Вы даже не успеете глазом моргнуть, когда будете исполнять пункт 5 Римского договора. Господин президент, конечно, не хочет этого развития, и я не хочу. И я не хочу. Поэтому он здесь и находится, и мучает меня уже 6 часов.